Don't embarrass me, sister hissed. Mark's dad is a federal judge. I said nothing. At dinner, she introduced me as the disappointment. Judge Reynolds extended his hand. Your Honor, good to see you again. Sister's wine glass shattered. But let me back up. Because the look on my sister Victoria's face when Judge Reynolds called me Your Honor was 15 years in the making. I'm Elena Martinez, 42 years old. Victoria is 45. Growing up, she was the golden child, straight A's, debate team captain, full ride to Georgetown. I was the quiet one who spent more time in the library than at family dinners. Our parents owned a successful accounting firm in Northern Virginia. Upper middle class, comfortable. Country club memberships. The right zip code. Victoria married her college boyfriend, a corporate attorney named Bradley. They had the McMansion, the luxury SUV, the carefully curated Instagram life. I went to law school. Not Georgetown like Victoria wanted, she said I'd embarrass her there. I went to a state school, took out loans, worked nights as a paralegal. Victoria told everyone I couldn't hack it at a real law school. After graduation, I clerked for a district court judge. Victoria laughed. A clerk? That's basically a secretary, Elena. I thought you wanted to be a real lawyer. I didn't correct her. I learned early that Victoria needed to win. Needed to be superior. Correcting her only made things worse. What Victoria didn't know, what none of my family knew, was that my district court judge was Frank Davidson. Judge Frank Davidson, who 5 years later became Attorney General of the United States. After my clerkship, I worked as a federal prosecutor. Violent crimes, organized crime, public corruption. I won cases. A lot of cases. Victoria told people I was doing okay for a government employee. At 29, I was recommended for a federal judgeship. The youngest candidate in the circuit. The vetting process took 18 months. Background checks, FBI interviews, Senate confirmation hearings. I told my family I was still working as a prosecutor. Victoria was busy planning her second wedding. She'd divorced Bradley for his lack of ambition, and married Richard, a pharmaceutical executive. At their engagement party, she announced, at least one Martinez sister married successfully. I was confirmed to the federal bench 3 months later. I didn't invite my family to the ceremony. Judge Davidson, Attorney General Davidson by then, called personally to congratulate me. Elena, you earned this. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. For 13 years I sat on the federal bench. I presided over high-profile cases. Wrote opinions cited by appellate courts. Mentored young attorneys. Built a reputation for fairness and scholarship. My family thought I was a mid-level government lawyer making $75,000 a year. Victoria thought I lived in a sad little apartment, because I didn't post my home on social media. In reality, I owned a renovated townhouse in Old Town Alexandria worth $1.8 million. Paid in cash from careful investments in my salary. Federal judges make $223,400. Not that Victoria ever bothered to check. She thought I drove a embarrassing 5-year-old Camry. She didn't know I also had a vintage Mercedes in my garage that I drove on weekends. She thought I was single because no successful man wants a workaholic government employee. She didn't know about Michael, a fellow federal judge I'd been seeing for 4 years. We kept our relationship private, judicial ethics and all. Victoria's third marriage was falling apart when she met Mark Reynolds. Mark was 38, a senior associate at a white shoe law firm. Handsome, charming, ambitious. Most importantly to Victoria. His father was Judge Thomas Reynolds, United States Circuit Court Judge for the Fourth Circuit. I knew Judge Reynolds. I'd argued before him twice when I was a prosecutor. After I was confirmed, we'd served together on several judicial panels and committees. He was brilliant, principled, and had a wicked sense of humor. Victoria found out about Judge Reynolds on Mark's second date. She called me immediately. Elena, Mark's father is a federal judge. Not some district court nothing, a circuit court judge. Do you know what that means? Yes, I said quietly. I know what that means. Of course you don't. It means he's basically one step below the Supreme Court. It means Mark comes from a family that matters. That has real influence. That's wonderful, Victoria. I'm happy for you. I need you to understand something. Her voice went cold. This is the most important relationship of my life. Mark's family moves in circles you can't even imagine. Federal judges, senators, CEOs. His mother went to Wellesley. They summer in Martha's Vineyard. I understand. Do you? Because I can't have you embarrassing me, Elena. I can't have Mark's family thinking the Martinez family is ordinary. I said nothing. You're going to meet them eventually. When you do, just don't talk about your job too much. Don't mention you work for the government. If anyone asks, say you're in law. That's technically true. Okay, Victoria. And for God's sake, buy a decent outfit. None of your clearance rack blazers. The next 6 months were fascinating to watch. Victoria threw herself into becoming worthy of the Reynolds family. She joined the boards of 3 charities. Started attending gallery openings. Hired a personal stylist. Her Instagram became a carefully curated display of sophisticated dinner parties and cultural events. He called me once a month with updates. Mark's mother mentioned they vacation in Nantucket. I'm learning about Nantucket. Did you know there's a difference between Nantucket and the Hamptons, Elena? Of course you didn't. Mark's father knows Senator Williams. They went to Yale together. Can you imagine? My future father-in-law knows senators personally. I met Mark's sister Catherine. She's a partner at a venture capital firm. A partner, Elena. She manages a $400 million fund. I listened. Said congratulations. Went back to my life. In March, I presided over a public corruption case that made national news. A state senator taking bribes from developers. The trial lasted 3 weeks. My rulings were covered by the Washington Post, the New York Times, legal journals. Victoria never mentioned it. She didn't read legal news. In April, I was asked to speak at a Harvard Law Symposium on federal sentencing reform. Judge Reynolds was the keynote speaker. We had dinner with several other judges the night before. Elena, Judge Reynolds said over coffee, I keep meaning to ask, any relation to a Victoria Martinez in Arlington? My son Mark is engaged to a Victoria Martinez. That's my sister, I said. His eyebrows rose. Your sister? Mark never mentioned. Does she know you're a judge? It's complicated. I keep my private life very private. He studied me for a moment. Family doesn't know? No, sir. That must be difficult. I shrugged. It's easier this way. My sister needs certain things to be true about me. Letting her think I'm unsuccessful means she's happy. Everyone wins. Judge Reynolds frowned. That's not winning, Elena. That's hiding. With respect, Your Honor, it's surviving. He didn't push. But I saw something in his expression. Concern, maybe. Understanding. In May, Victoria got engaged. The proposal was elaborate. Mark rented out a private room at the Four Seasons, had a string quartet, posted the whole thing on Instagram. Victoria called me the next morning. It's official. I'm going to be part of the Reynolds family. Mark's already talking about me joining his mother's foundation board. Can you imagine? Me on a board with federal judges' wives and senators' wives. That's wonderful, I said. We're having an engagement dinner next month. Small, intimate. Just immediate family. Which means... She paused. I need you to come. Of course. But Elena, I need you to understand. This isn't like our family dinners. These are sophisticated people. Mark's father has clerked for the Supreme Court. His mother studied at Oxford. They're not going to understand your lifestyle. My lifestyle. You know what I mean. The government job. The lack of success. Just, please don't talk about work. Don't mention money. Don't embarrass me. I could have told her then. Should have maybe. Instead I said, I'll be on my best behavior. The engagement dinner was scheduled for June 15th at the Ivy, an exclusive restaurant in Georgetown. Victoria texted me the dress code, cocktail attire. Nice cocktail attire, Elena. Not clearance rack. I wore a navy silk dress from my closet. Understated, elegant. Pearl earrings, a gift from Michael. I drove the Camry because I knew Victoria would be watching the parking lot. I arrived exactly on time. Victoria was already there, wearing a white designer dress that probably cost $3,000. He grabbed my arm the moment I walked in. You're here. Good. Listen, Mark's family isn't here yet. When they arrive, let me do the talking. Don't volunteer information about yourself. If anyone asks what you do, just say, law, and change the subject. Understood. Understood. And please, Please don't mention that apartment of yours or that car. Mark's sister drives a Tesla. His mother has a Mercedes. They don't need to know you're struggling. I almost laughed. Almost told her that my sad little apartment was a historic townhouse that Catherine Reynolds herself had complimented during a judicial function I'd attended last month. That my garage Mercedes was vintage, not new, because I preferred classic cars. Instead I said, I'll be discreet. Thank you. This is important to me, Elena. This family, they're everything I've worked for. Our parents arrived. Dad in his country club blazer, Mom in her pearls. They hugged. Victoria nodded at me. The usual. Now Elena, Mom said, Victoria told us about Mark's family. Very impressive. Please don't mention your job too much. We don't want them thinking we're ordinary. I understand, I said. Then Mark arrived with his family. Judge Thomas Reynolds looked exactly as he did in court. Tall, silver-haired, commanding presence. His wife Caroline was elegant in a classic Chanel suit. Catherine, Mark's sister, wore a sharp pantsuit and had the confident air of someone who'd made her first million before 30. Mark introduced everyone. Mom, Dad, Catherine. This is Victoria's family. Her parents, David and Marie, and her sister. Elena, Victoria said quickly. My younger sister. She works in government law. She said it the way you might say, waste management, or telemarketing. Judge Reynolds extended his hand to my father. David, pleasure to meet you. Thomas Reynolds. Then he turned to me. Our eyes met. I saw the recognition. Saw him process. Saw the question form. I gave the slightest shake of my head. Not here. Not now. He paused for a fraction of a second. Then smoothly said, Elena. Nice to meet you. Your Honor, I said quietly. The pleasure is mine. Victoria shot me a look. Just Mr. Reynolds. Elena. Don't be weird. We sat down, large round table. Victoria positioned herself between Mark and Judge Reynolds. Put me at the far end between Catherine and my father. The dinner started normally. Conversation about the wedding venues, dates. Victoria dominated, laughing too loudly, touching Mark's arm constantly. We're thinking September, Victoria said. At the Ritz-Carlton in Tysons. 500 guests. Black tie. That sounds lovely, Caroline Reynolds said politely. Mark's father will invite so many important people, Victoria continued. Won't you, Judge Reynolds? I mean, you must know everyone in Washington legal circles. I know a few people, Judge Reynolds said carefully. A few. Victoria laughed. Mark says you have senators on speed dial. That you've argued before the Supreme Court. That's so incredible. I've always admired people in positions of real power. She said it pointedly, glancing at me. Judge Reynolds' expression didn't change, but I saw his jaw tighten slightly. Power is relative, he said. The most powerful people I know are often the ones working quietly without recognition. Victoria missed the subtext entirely. Oh, absolutely. But there's something to be said for achievement. For making something of yourself. Another glance at me. Not everyone has that drive. My mother nodded. Elena's always been content with less. Less. Catherine asked, looking at me with interest. What do you do, Elena? Before I could answer, Victoria jumped in. She works for the government. Local courts, nothing exciting. It's fine for her, she's never been ambitious. Local courts, Catherine repeated, still looking at me. There was something sharp in her gaze. It's a living, I said quietly. Must be interesting though, Catherine pressed. What kind of law? Criminal, I said. Federal criminal law. Federal. Judge Reynolds said, his voice carefully neutral. That's not local courts. Victoria waved her hand. Same difference. Government legal work. You know how it is, bureaucratic, low level. Elena's comfortable there. The table went quiet for a moment. Then my father decided to help. The important thing is that one of our daughters is successful. He smiled at Victoria. We're very proud of Victoria's accomplishments. Her marriage to Mark, joining this family, it's quite an achievement. An achievement, Judge Reynolds repeated softly. Well, yes, Mom said. The Reynolds family is so distinguished. Federal judges, important connections. It's everything a parent hopes for. I watched Judge Reynolds' face. Watched him realize what my life had been. Why I'd hidden. Victoria beamed. I've worked hard to be worthy of Mark. To be someone his family can be proud of. And Elena? Caroline Reynolds asked quietly. What about Elena? Victoria laughed. That nervous, dismissive laugh. Elena's fine with her life. She's never wanted more. Haven't you, Elena? Everyone turned to me. I could have ended it there. Could have told the truth. Instead I said, I'm content. Content, Victoria repeated triumphantly. See? Elena knows her limits. Not everyone needs to be successful. Some people are just ordinary. And that's okay. She said it kindly, patronizingly, like she was being generous. My father nodded. We've accepted that our daughters are very different. Victoria aims high. Elena aims, realistically. Judge Reynolds set down his fork. His voice was still polite, but there was steel underneath. What makes you think Elena isn't successful? The question hung in the air. Victoria laughed nervously. Well, I mean, she works a government job. She drives a Camry. She lives in an apartment. No offense to Elena, but success looks different for different people. No offense taken, I said quietly. Catherine was staring at me now. Really staring. Wait. Federal criminal law. How long have you been doing that? A while, I said. And what's your title? She pressed. Victoria interrupted. Does it matter? Can we talk about the wedding? I want Catherine's advice on venues. What's your title, Elena? Judge Reynolds asked. The table went silent. I looked at Victoria, at my parents, at their smug, comfortable certainty that I was the family failure. I looked at Judge Reynolds. He gave me the slightest nod. I'm a federal judge, I said clearly. United States District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia. The silence stretched. Then Victoria laughed. High-pitched, disbelieving. What? Oh, Elena, don't, that's not funny. I'm not joking. You're a judge, my mother said. Since when? 13 years. My father shook his head. That's impossible. You work in a court. You've told us. I told you I work in federal criminal law. I do. I preside over federal criminal cases. Victoria's face had gone red. You're lying. You can't be a federal judge. Federal judges are, they're appointed by the president, Judge Reynolds said quietly. Confirmed by the Senate. They serve lifetime appointments. Elena, when were you confirmed? March 2011. President Obama. Senate vote was 94-2. The color drained from Victoria's face. Catherine pulled out her phone. Typed rapidly. Then turned the screen to show a picture. Me in my robes at a judicial conference last year. Judge Elena Martinez, U.S. District Court, Eastern District of Virginia. Holy shit. My mother grabbed the phone. That's you. In judge robes. Yes. But you said you never. She looked at Victoria. Did you know? Of course I didn't know. Victoria's voice was rising. She lied. She let us think she was nobody. I never lied, I said calmly. I told you I worked in federal criminal law. I do. You assumed I was low level. I didn't correct you. That's lying by omission. Is it? I looked at her steadily. You called me a secretary. Called my work nothing. Told me not to embarrass you. When exactly was I supposed to correct you? Judge Reynolds was watching this unfold with an expression I recognized from court. The one he wore when a witness was impeaching themselves. You've known each other, Mark said slowly, looking between me and his father. You know her. Judge Martinez and I have served on several judicial panels together, Judge Reynolds said. She's one of the finest legal minds I've had the pleasure of working with. Victoria stood up abruptly. This is insane. You're all insane. Elena is not a federal judge. He can't be. I would have known. Would you? I asked quietly. When's the last time you asked about my work? When's the last time you asked about my life at all? That's not, she turned to my parents. Tell them Elena's not a judge. My mother was still staring at Catherine's phone, scrolling through search results. There are articles. So many articles. Judge Martinez presides over corruption trial. Judge Martinez opinion cited by Fourth Circuit. Elena, is this real? Yes. My father was reading over her shoulder. His face had gone gray. You sent a senator to prison. He was taking bribes. The evidence was overwhelming. You've been a federal judge for 13 years, he said slowly. 13 years. And you never told us. You never asked. You assumed. I let you. Victoria slammed her hand on the table. Why? Why would you hide this? Do you know what this makes me look like? I've been telling Mark's family that you're nothing, that you're ordinary, that I'm the successful one. Yes, I said. You have. You made me look like an idiot. No, Victoria. You did that yourself. The words hung there. Judge Reynolds cleared his throat. Perhaps we should. No. Victoria's hands were shaking. No, I want to know. Why hide it, Elena? Why let everyone think you're a failure? I looked at her. Really looked at her. Because you needed me to be. That's not. You've built your entire identity on being better than me. Smarter, more successful, more accomplished. What would you have done if you'd known the truth 13 years ago? She opened her mouth. Closed it. You would have made it about you, I continued quietly. Made it a competition. Told everyone I got the position through connections or luck. Anything to preserve your position as the successful sister. That's not true. Isn't it? You're doing it right now. Your first response wasn't congratulations or pride. It was anger that I made you look bad. My mother made a small sound. My father just stared at his plate. Mark was looking at Victoria like he'd never seen her before. I think, Judge Reynolds said carefully, we should all take a breath. This is clearly a shock. A shock. Victoria's voice was shrill. My sister has been lying to our entire family for over a decade, making fools of us, and you think we should just breathe? I didn't make a fool of you, I said. I lived my life. You made assumptions. Because you let us. You played poor. You played unsuccessful. She stopped. Wait. The apartment. Her. You said you couldn't afford. I never said that. You assumed. Catherine was still on her phone. Judge Martinez's financial disclosures are public record. She owns a townhouse in Old Town Alexandria worth, holy shit, $1.8 million. My mother gasped. Federal judges make $223,400 annually, Catherine continued. Have for the past 13 years. Plus investment income. Looks like she's been very smart with her money. You're rich. Victoria said. I'm comfortable. You let me pay for your dinner last Christmas. You let me think you were struggling. You insisted on paying. You said, and I quote, I know money's tight for you. I said thank you. The waiter appeared with our entrees. Read the room. Disappeared immediately. Judge Reynolds leaned back in his chair. Elena, I have to ask, why reveal this now? Because, I said looking at Victoria, I'm tired. Tired, she repeated. Tired of being your villain. Your cautionary tale. The sister you pity in public and mock in private. I don't. You do. I pulled out my phone. Opened Instagram. Found Victoria's post from last month. Read aloud. So grateful for my journey. Some people settle for ordinary lives. I chose extraordinary. Hashtag blessed, hashtag success, hashtag family first. That wasn't about you. It had a picture of us. With you in designer clothes and me in my Camry. You tagged me. Silence. Or how about this one? I continued. Thankful for sisters even when we take very different paths. Some of us aim high. With a photo from Dad's birthday where you're with your husband and I'm alone in the background. I was just. Or the text you sent me last week. I scrolled. Found it. Make sure you dress appropriately for dinner. Mark's family is used to a certain level of sophistication. I know that's not your world, but please try. I set the phone down. For 13 years I've let you treat me like I'm less than you. Like I'm someone to be ashamed of. I let you because I thought it made your life easier. I thought if you could feel superior to me you'd be happy. I am happy. Are you? I looked at her. You've had 3 marriages. You've changed careers 4 times. You've reinvented yourself over and over, chasing what you think success looks like. And every time you've defined it against me. At least I'm not like Elena. My mother was crying quietly. My father looked like he might be sick. Mark hadn't said a word. He was watching Victoria with an expression I couldn't quite read. This isn't fair, Victoria whispered. You lied to us. You made us look foolish. No, Judge Reynolds said firmly. Elena lived her life privately. You made assumptions and never bothered to verify them. There's a difference. Victoria turned to him desperately. But you understand, right? You understand why I'm upset? Your son is marrying into a family that's been lying. My son, Judge Reynolds interrupted, his voice cold now, is marrying into a family where one daughter has served with distinction on the federal bench for over a decade. Where one daughter has sent corrupt officials to prison, ruled on cases that shaped federal law, and earned the respect of every judge she's worked with. He paused. And where one daughter has apparently spent those same years tearing that sister down. So no, Victoria, I don't understand. I don't understand at all. Victoria's face crumpled. Caroline Reynolds spoke for the first time in several minutes. Elena, forgive me for asking, but why now? Why reveal this tonight? I looked at Victoria. Because I realized something. No matter what I do, no matter how small I make myself, Victoria will always need someone to be beneath her. And I'm done being that person. I never asked you to, Victoria started. You didn't have to ask. You demanded it. Every family dinner, every holiday, every conversation. Don't embarrass me. Don't talk about your job. Don't make me look bad. As if my existence was something you had to manage. That's not. It is. I stood up. For 13 years I've watched you build an identity based on being better than me. I've watched you introduce me to friends, to boyfriends, to husbands, with that apologetic tone. This is my sister. She's not as successful. I've smiled through it. Accepted it. I looked at Judge Reynolds. But I can't accept it anymore. Not when you're joining a family that includes this man. Someone I respect immensely, someone who represents everything I believe about justice and integrity. I won't let Victoria's version of me be the truth Mark's family knows. You're doing this for revenge, Victoria said bitterly. No. I'm doing this because I deserve better. Because I've earned better. I picked up my purse. I'm sorry, Judge Reynolds, Caroline, Catherine. I know this isn't how you wanted to meet my family. Don't apologize, Judge Reynolds said. You have nothing to apologize for. Elena, wait. My father started. No, Dad. I'm done waiting. I'm done being quiet. I'm done making myself small so Victoria can feel big. I turned to Victoria. I hope you find what you're looking for. I hope Mark makes you happy. I hope you build a good life together. But I won't be part of a family that requires me to pretend I'm someone I'm not. You're leaving, my mother said. Just like that. Just like that. Catherine stood up suddenly. Wait. Elena, Judge Martinez, can I walk you out? I nodded. In the parking lot, Catherine leaned against my Camry. So, federal judge. So, venture capital. She laughed. Your sister has been going on for months about how I need to meet her whole family, about how she's so much more accomplished than her sister who's just getting by. I know. I Googled you 2 weeks ago. Found your judicial record. Recognized your name from several cases I'd read in law school. I went to Columbia Law before switching to finance. I knew you'd been on the bench. Knew you were brilliant. You didn't say anything. I wanted to see if you would. I wanted to see. She trailed off. I wanted to see if you were hiding or if your family just couldn't see you. Both probably. For what it's worth, I think you're extraordinary. And I think my brother just realized he might be marrying the wrong sister. I smiled. He loves her. He'll work through this. Maybe. But Elena, she hesitated. Don't disappear completely. My father respects you. My mother just spent 10 minutes reading your opinions on her phone and she's already impressed. We're not your family. We see you. Something in my chest loosened. Thank you. I drove home to my sad little apartment. My 3-story historic townhouse with original crown molding and a garden courtyard. I texted Michael. Family dinner was interesting. I'll tell you tomorrow. He called immediately. Interesting good or interesting bad? Interesting, necessary. You told them. I told them. How do you feel? I thought about it. Free. The text messages started at 11 p.m. Victoria, I can't believe you did this. Victoria, you ruined everything. Victoria, Mark's parents think I'm a horrible person. Victoria, how could you embarrass me like this? I didn't respond. Elena, we need to talk. Your father is very upset. This isn't how family handles things. I turned off my phone. The next morning I had 17 missed calls. For voicemails. My father's voice tight with anger. Elena, this was inappropriate. You made us all look foolish. You need to call your sister and apologize. My mother crying. I don't understand why you kept this secret. We could have been so proud. Why would you hide this from us? Victoria hysterical. Mark is reconsidering. His parents want him to think carefully about marrying into our family. You've destroyed my life. I hope you're happy. And then surprisingly, Elena, it's Catherine Reynolds. I know you probably don't want to hear from any of us, but I wanted you to know. My parents aren't reconsidering Mark and Victoria's relationship because of you. They're reconsidering because of how Victoria treated you. There's a difference. Also, Dad wants to know if you're free for lunch next week. Purely professional. There's a judicial task force forming and he wants your input. Call me. I called Catherine back. Hey, she said. You okay? Getting there. My family had breakfast this morning. Long conversation. Mark is processing. He's realizing there were red flags he ignored. What kind of flags? The way Victoria talks about people. The way she measures worth. The way she treats service staff, people she considers beneath her. Catherine paused. She spent 20 minutes at breakfast trying to convince Mark that you somehow tricked us, that you're manipulative, that everything you said was designed to make her look bad. And Mark asked her why she'd spent years telling him you were a failure without ever actually asking about your career. She didn't have a good answer. I felt a pang of sympathy for Mark. This isn't his fault. No, but it's his problem now. Elena, can I ask you something? Sure. Why do you drive a Camry? I laughed. Because it's reliable and I don't care about cars as status symbols. And the townhouse you hide? I don't hide it. I just don't post it on social media. I'm a federal judge. My address is private for security reasons. My life is private because it needs to be. That's what I thought. But Victoria kept telling Mark you were ashamed of your life, that you lived small because you had to, not by choice. Victoria believes what she needs to believe. Yeah. Catherine sighed. Look, I'll be honest, I don't know if Mark's going to go through with the wedding. He loves Victoria, but he's also realizing he doesn't know her as well as he thought. The woman who spent months mocking her federal judge sister isn't the woman he proposed to. He proposed to exactly that woman. He just didn't see it. True. She paused. Are you going to reconcile with your family? I don't know. Right now they're angry I embarrassed them. Not sorry they misjudged me. There's a difference. There is. Another pause. My father really does want to have lunch. He's been on the phone all morning with colleagues, apparently telling everyone about the brilliant Judge Martinez who's been hiding in plain sight for years. You've got fans, Elena. Tell him I'd be honored. After we hung up, I sat in my garden with coffee and thought about Victoria. About my parents. About 13 years of being invisible. My phone rang. Judge Reynolds. Elena, I hope I'm not calling too early. Not at all, Your Honor. I wanted to apologize for last night. That dinner was uncomfortable. You have nothing to apologize for. Don't I? I should have said something immediately. Should have introduced you properly. I let the situation unfold when I could have stopped it. With respect, Your Honor, it needed to unfold. They needed to hear it from me. He was quiet for a moment. Catherine said you might be available for lunch next week. I am. Good. But Elena, I'm not calling about the task force. I'm calling as Mark's father. My son is in love with your sister. He wants to marry her. But he's also just discovered that the woman he loves has been cruel to someone I respect. He doesn't know what to do with that information. I don't want to come between them. You're not. Victoria's choices are coming between them. There's a difference. He sighed. Mark asked me this morning if I think Victoria can change. If the woman who dismissed you for 13 years can become someone different. What did you tell him? I told him that's not my question to answer. But I told him that anyone who spent 13 years tearing down a federal judge to feel superior has some serious self-reflection to do. She's not a bad person, Your Honor. She's just insecure, competitive, cruel. His voice was gentle but firm. Elena, I know you want to excuse her. But what I witnessed last night wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a pattern revealed. Your parents confirmed it. Every story they told about you was dismissive. Every comparison favored Victoria. That doesn't happen by accident. No, I admitted. It doesn't. Mark needs to decide if he can marry someone who needs others to be small so she can feel big. That's not your burden to carry. Thank you, Your Honor. Call me Tom. We're colleagues. And Elena? I'm proud to be your colleague. What you've accomplished, the way you've conducted yourself, you're a credit to the bench. After we hung up, I cried. Not from sadness. From relief. Someone saw me. Really saw me. 3 weeks later, I was in chambers reviewing briefs when my clerk knocked. Judge Martinez? There's a Victoria Martinez in the lobby. She says she's your sister. She doesn't have an appointment, but... Send her in. Victoria looked terrible. Red-rimmed eyes. No makeup. Jeans and a Georgetown sweatshirt. I'd never seen her in casual clothes at a public meeting. Elena, she said. Victoria. Can we talk? Sit. She sat. Looked around my chambers. The law books, the framed degrees, the photos from judicial conferences. This is really your office? Yes. You're really a federal judge? Yes. She was quiet for a long moment. Mark ended our engagement. I'm sorry. Are you? She looked at me. You got what you wanted. You humiliated me. Destroyed my relationship. Made me look like a monster. Is that what you think I wanted? Wasn't it? I leaned back in my chair. Victoria, I spent 13 years making myself invisible so you could shine. If I wanted to humiliate you, I could have done it years ago. Then why now? Because you were about to marry into a family that includes someone I respect deeply. Because I couldn't stand at your wedding and pretend to be your failure story anymore. Because I was tired of lying to myself about what our relationship actually was. What is it? She asked quietly. One-sided. Built on you needing me to be less than you are. She flinched. That's not fair. Isn't it? When's the last time you asked about my life and actually listened to the answer? When's the last time you celebrated something I did? When's the last time we had a conversation where you didn't compare us and find me wanting? Silence. I can't remember either, I said. I didn't mean to. She stopped. Started again. Mark said I'm cruel. That I treated you like you were worthless. I didn't think I was that bad. You didn't think you were bad at all. You thought you were honest. Realistic. You thought you were the successful sister dealing with the disappointing one. But you were never disappointing, she whispered. You were extraordinary the whole time. And I was too self-absorbed to see it. Yes. She looked at me. Really looked at me. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know if you can. Do you want me to try? I thought about it. I want you to figure out who you are without me being your villain. Without needing someone to be less than you. Until you do that, we don't have anything to fix. Mark said the same thing. He said he can't marry someone who gets their self-worth from putting others down. He's right. I love him, Elena. I know. But love isn't enough if you can't see your partner clearly. If you need them to be your supporting actor instead of their own person. She nodded slowly. Mom and Dad are upset with me. They say I drove you away. That I ruined the family. You didn't ruin anything. You revealed what was already there. Will you? She hesitated. Will you come to therapy with me? Family therapy? Mom wants to set it up. She thinks if we all talk. No. No. Not yet. Victoria, you need individual therapy first. You need to figure out why you've built your identity on being better than me. Why you need others to fail so you can succeed. Until you do that work, family therapy is just a performance. That's harsh. It's honest. I've been quiet for 13 years. I'm done being quiet. She stood up. I really did ruin everything, didn't I? You revealed everything. There's a difference. At the door, she turned back. I know you probably don't believe this, but I am proud of you. Federal judge. 13 years. That's incredible. Thank you. I'm sorry I couldn't see it before. I know. After she left, I sat in my chambers and felt nothing. No satisfaction. No anger. Just a quiet sense of closure. My phone buzzed. Michael, dinner tonight? You've been quiet lately. I smiled. Typed back, yes. And I have stories. That evening, over wine at my townhouse, I told Michael everything. So your family had no idea, he said. No idea. For 13 years. 13 years. He shook his head. Elena, that's impressive and depressing in equal measure. I know. Are you okay? I thought about it. I think so. Feels strange. Like I've been carrying something heavy for so long that I forgot what it felt like to put it down. What happens now? How I live my life. Without apologizing for success or hiding to make others comfortable. Good. He raised his glass. To Judge Elena Martinez. Who stopped hiding. To being seen, I corrected. We clinked glasses. 3 months later, Judge Reynolds and I co-authored an article on federal sentencing reform. It was published in the Harvard Law Review. My parents saw it on Facebook. Someone from their country club shared it with a comment. Did you know David and Marie Martinez's daughter is a federal judge? My mother called. Elena, we saw the article. I'm glad. Your father wants to know if we can take you to dinner. To celebrate. Celebrate what? The article? Or the fact that people from the club now know what I do? Silence. Mom, I love you. But until you can tell me you're proud of me for me, not because of what other people think, we don't have much to talk about. That's not fair. It's honest. I'll talk to you when you're ready to be honest too. I hung up. 6 months after the engagement dinner, I received a wedding invitation. Not Victoria's, she and Mark had ended things permanently. She was in therapy, according to Catherine, working through what Catherine diplomatically called identity issues. The invitation was from Catherine herself. She was marrying her longtime partner in a small ceremony in Nantucket. I know it's forward to invite you, she wrote in a note enclosed with the invitation, but you're the kind of person I want in my life. Someone who knows who they are and doesn't apologize for it. Plus, Dad wants to corner you about that sentencing reform task force. Fair warning. I went to the wedding. Met Catherine's brilliant partner. Had long conversations with Judge Reynolds about judicial philosophy. Danced at the reception. As I was leaving, Judge Reynolds pulled me aside. Mark asks about you sometimes. How you're doing. Tell him I'm well. He feels guilty. About Victoria. About not seeing what was happening. He shouldn't. We see what we're ready to see. Wise words. He paused. Elena, I'm glad you stopped hiding. The legal community is better for seeing you clearly. Thank you, Tom. And for what it's worth, I think your family will come around eventually. Some people just need time to adjust their vision. Maybe. But I'm not waiting for them anymore. Good. Don't. I drove home to my townhouse. My not-so-secret life. My very real success. I thought about Victoria, about my parents, about 13 years of being invisible. I thought about Judge Reynolds calling me Your Honor at that dinner. About the look on Victoria's face. About the wine glass shattering. I didn't feel triumphant. Didn't feel vindicated. I felt free. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Mark Reynolds. I got your number from Catherine. Hope that's okay. I wanted to say thank you. For showing me what I needed to see. Even though it cost me my engagement, I'm grateful. I hope you're well. I typed back. I'm very well. Thank you for asking. I hope you find someone who sees you clearly. It makes all the difference. He replied, I hope Victoria does too. She's trying. That's something. It is, I agreed. I set my phone down. Looked around my living room. My space, my life, my hard-earned success. I stopped hiding. And it turned out, being seen was worth everything I'd given up to stay invisible.